Welcome back to the Piping Pastor. Finally back after an extended stay in my wilderness ministry. So, challenging few weeks, but as always, the more challenging the environment, the more impactful the ministry. Well, it really allows people to get close to God when they're being challenged, myself included. And no major mishaps, apart from a little recent back injury. But I was telling some of the young people I was with out there, age brings wisdom but not without cost. But I'll happily pay the cost of a little physical discomfort for the experience that God has blessed me with. Well, today on my return journey here, I'm smoking the Peterson Lestrade again, and in it I'm having some George's Dragon. Of course, my label still says Green Dragon because I doubt the Tolkien estate is going to file suit against me for not changing my labels. And as long as I know what's in it, I'm good to go. Didn't realize it though. So, well, one of the topics that I was recently engaging with was on who God is. Topic that frequently comes up in the environments that I work in. And it got me thinking, as often it does, about the intersection of my different areas of interest, which is where God has kind of placed me to understand God's revelation. In particular, being science, literature, and theology. Not that I'm a scientist by any means, but my research in science and religion really got me interested in sciences of various different stripes. And as such, I still engage in, sort of a layperson's cursory examination of different scientific discussions. And of course, as YouTube is a great vehicle for that, one of my favorite channels to watch is Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He co-hosts that with a stand-up comedian whose name I can't remember. Funny guy, can't remember his name. In any case, a recent discussion they were having was on information. Like, what do they consider information? In particular, they were talking about in relation to black holes, Hawking radiation escaping from black holes. And the question, which was a pertinent one, I thought, what do you mean by information? What is that? And so Neil deGrasse Tyson responds by saying, well, information for him as an astrophysicist just means measurable aspects of something. The knowing of what is in something is information, right? If you talk to someone who deals in physical sciences, they're typically more math centered, right? Whereas if you talk to someone in the biological sciences, it's more, about living organisms, but they both discuss information in the same way, that it's an understanding of what something is and how that exists everywhere. And then you put that in conversation with the entire idea of the indeterminate wave collapse function in quantum physics, quantum mechanics. The idea that observation changes something. So everything that exists in a measurable aspect of reality. Everything that we can know, see, and touch, down to the tiniest quark, can be measured in some manner. It can be known in some manner. It can be measured in some manner, and it can be observed in some manner. It has to be observed in some manner, otherwise we don't know what it is. If we can't observe it, then to us it is non-existent. So it contains information, but then it's also affected by our observation. If it's not observed, it's not known, it doesn't exist for us. And it got me thinking that may be a good way to try to understand God's pervasive presence in the universe. Everything exists out of the creation of God, continually being created, because God knows and observes everything. So, the pervasive presence of God in the universe, God's omnipresence, is not just a matter of, well, God's everywhere. It's a matter of God's everywhere and engaging with things and observing things and knowing things. And that's how physical reality comes into being. And when you put this in conversation with literature, get into the third wheel, in the beginning, the Word was with God, the Word was God. Creation was spoken into being. Creation is continually spoken into being by God. And there's a wonderful depiction of that in the Chronicles of Narnia, when they went in, and they get the magician's son or the magician's nephew, when Aslan is singing Narnia into existence, and Narnia is being created as it is being sung, and it's depicted in Silmarillion by Tolkien, where Iluvatar is singing and teaching the Valar to sing, and as they sing, physical creation comes into being. And of course, that theme is given to us as subcreation with Adam, because God goes to Adam and has how the animals come to Adam to see who Adam would name them. Adam given the power of subcreation under God, and again using words, using language, seeing something, measuring something, knowing something, and then singing it out, saying it out, expressing it. The model we have for that in our own lives is a subcreation. It's a depiction. It's the Imago Dei. It's a reflection of what God has done. So when you try to think about who God is or how God interacts, when you try to pull all these threads together, you have a God who sees everything, knows everything, and speaks everything into existence. And we can see that reflected in our human lives to a much smaller degree as subcreation, as subcreated, as created in a subcreation, continually to subcreate in our own world. So these are the kind of thoughts that come to you late night and sitting around a fire with a bunch of pipes, pipes and cigars. Okay, in truth, a lot of people just smoke cigars, but in any case, well, I have a bunch of videos to get caught up on because I've been gone and away from any kind of electronic contact for several weeks now. So I'm going to get back in. I know just a cursory examination this morning, I saw that Parsimonious, I think, was celebrating his 6th anniversary. So happy anniversary. Congratulations. And I think, oh goodness, there was someone else who just done like a 500 or 600 video. Old man things. Duh. Yes. So I haven't seen those videos yet. They just popped up in my notifications as I got like 1,000 notifications when I got back home. So I'm gonna check those out. There's a few new presenters who have popped up in my feed as well. So I'm gonna spend probably another hour or two in here in my comfy chair, finally relaxing at home and watching some videos. So it's great to be back, and I look forward to having another video next week. So until then, as always, happy reading.